Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I am here with Joanna Poremska. Hello, Joanna.
Hello.
It's so nice to have you here today. And we are continuing to talk about the Ielts test. And today we are going to talk about a very, very special asset, which is Road to Ielts. And for those of you who do not know what that is, this is a special interactive platform created by Clarity English for British Council, which is available for all the candidates who are taking Ielts with British Council. So on this course, you can see a lot of practice exercises, interactive exercises, which you can do and check your scores. They are available for both academic and general training versions of Ielts. You can also see a lot of sample tests for both Ielts on paper and Ielts on computer. You can also see a lot of tutorials from experts and some videos from test takers who have already taken the Ielts test. And you can also do practice tests which are timed, so you can see how you're doing in terms of the time on the Ielts test. And actually, just today, I have received the feedback, the survey, which was done by our partner, and it says that 96% of those who used Road to Ielts said that it helped them to understand the test format, and 89% of them felt more confident during their Ielts test when they were taking it after completing Road to Ielts. So you may wonder how to access Road to Ielts. And you can access it in two versions. There's a free version, which is free for everyone. So you can go to roadtoielts.com at any time, and you can access practice tests, some speaking parts tests, interactive activities, and tutorial videos. But if you book your test with the British Council, after registering, you will receive an email with your individual access to the last-minute version. And you have more tests, more exercises, and you can check your progress during this course. So we know now what Road to Ielts is generally, but Joanna, I invited you here today to ask you as an expert, as a teacher and teacher trainer and Ielts expert, of course, to tell us if I know I can speak English, I know I can write in English because I am going to do the Ielts test. So why do I need to do additional exercises?
I think that the answer to this question is quite simple. If you decide to take an Ielts test, so you might probably have a specific aim in mind. So if you want to study in the UK, for example, then you know that you have to take Ielts and have a specific score. So this platform, the Road to Ielts, I think it's an invaluable help because you can find out a lot about the exam itself through those tutorials, through everything that is written in the ebooks. Also, you can test yourself and find out what your score might be at the beginning of the preparation. When, for example, you get your date of the exam set, then you can do all the one practice test and find out where you are. And I think this is something that you won't find anywhere, that you've got instant feedback on each of your exam tasks and papers. Yeah, so this is something that definitely is very good to know. And secondly, through all the interactive activities, you can also find out what is expected in each of the tasks. When you complete a task, you've got the answer key. And first of all, the feedback, how many points you scored. Then you can, for example, in terms of reading, you can quickly refer the answer to the parts of the text. So very quickly can establish, where you made a mistake or where you should go next time. And you also have tutorials, and these tutorials are very practical. Experts will tell you what the examiners look for and how to do it fast, because time is really precious here. So how to do it fast and how to do it efficiently to maximize your score.
Okay, great, thank you. So I think it would be useful for our viewers to go through each functionality one by one. So, but first, I would like to point out that there are two versions of the Road to IELTS. So you can practice academic version and also general training version. So now I would like you, Joanna, to talk a bit about the mock tests that are available there. So what do you think is the most beneficial, what is the most beneficial about doing such mock tests? For example, on the basis on this exercise that we have here.
You can decide whether you take the computer-based exam or if this is a paper-based exam. If this is a paper-based exam, you can print out, the booklet with the exam tasks, and then you can time yourself and do the exam within the time that you would realistically have in the exam. Secondly, when you take such test, you will very quickly see which which tasks are your strong points, and which scores might show you that this type of task you need more practice with. So, and if it comes, for example, to this task, the reading task, the task we see, it's quite unusual for any exams which are taken in English, because you've got to think about whether the answer is true, false, or not given. And if you, for example, follow the expert's advice in the tutorial, the specialists, they will give you some instructions, some advice, suggestions how to do it, how to locate specific information in the text, and think about synonyms to the questions that are given in the task. So first of all, if you read those answers or questions, underline the keywords, go back to the text, find out where the specific information is given, and then is it the same as in the question? Is it different? And if it is different, then you can safely say it's false. But if you haven't got any evidence of the information in the text, you go for the not given answer.
And I understand that the answer key to the reading part is also available on the website. And we also have the reading test in the computer version, which is checked by the system.
So this is really quick, and when you have this the score, you can then enter the score into this special section of the portal where you can translate the score of each paper or even of each task into the band on IELTS, and this is very good information. How far do you have to go?
Exactly, that sounds really great. And also on the top of the screen, you can see how many minutes you have left while you're doing this task, and you can also choose to do different tasks, different parts. And it is worth mentioning that the layout of this page is almost the same as what you will see during your computer test. So it is very useful to get to know the system too. So in terms of listening, what would you say about doing mock tests for listening? I know that a lot of IELTS candidates think that this part might be difficult because the listening in IELTS is only listened to once. So could you tell us more about it?
Yes, that's definitely different to other exams, Cambridge exams. So, what are the challenges? That those initial tasks are quite easy. And so the candidates might get distracted or, maybe lose focus. And so this is really crucial to use the preparation time. Usually when you have the exam, you will hear something like, now you have 30 seconds or 20 seconds to look through part 1 or part 2 or questions 9 to 18. And in this time, it's good not to really start thinking about anything else but underline keywords or doing this, thinking about synonyms or expecting, am I going to hear a name or a number? And by the way, spelling is quite important here, so make sure that you do it efficiently. When you work through this, the tasks in this portal, you have just the button start, and you cannot stop, pause it. So this is realistic time as in the exam itself. When you do it, you can very quickly assess, how you're coping with the time pressure, and how good are you with organizing, this preparation time. All of those things, are quite important.
Mm-hmm. So even if we are tempted to listen to it twice, the system won't allow us to do that and hurt ourselves. Okay, that's great to hear. So about the speaking part, there are practice tests for the speaking part. So how is it possible, and how can we assess ourselves after doing such part?
Mm-hmm. So as you can see, first of all, we've got all the questions that will be given to the candidates. And as you can see, you've got this time for preparation, 1 minute preparation, and then your 2 minutes to speak. Use your time really well, making some notes or maybe plan of what you want to say. Then you will record yourself. And on the right of the screen, there are very useful questions that you can answer after listening to your recording, because they will really tell you if you completed the task, if your range of vocabulary or range of structures was adequate. Could you change this? The topics that are given in the exam, they are pretty common, and when working through all those tasks that are given in Road to IELTS, I think that, first of all, it will give you more confidence, because you will get used to, answering questions which are sometimes unexpected. But secondly, listening to your voice, listening to your recordings, answering those questions, evaluating your performance, definitely will improve your score.
And could you tell us more about these 4 areas that we can see on the right of the screen? So what does it actually mean, like fluency, vocabulary, especially pronunciation? Is Polish accent a mistake in the pronunciation department, so to speak, or would it be okay?
Mm-hmm. Pronunciation, I think that several, many candidates could worry about it, but I can assure you that's nothing to worry about. The descriptors, usually the pronunciation has got descriptors for the examiners to focus on. So it will be pronunciation of the sounds, the word stress, intonation. But in general, the question is it easy to follow what you're saying? So I think, to get yourself a better score, remember to speak clearly. Yeah. So remember to articulate clearly. When it comes to fluency, this means speaking without hesitation. Also, organizing what you say in a logical way, and making sure that we use complete sentences, full sentences. When we answer a question, it's good to also give reason for your answer. And so this goes into this fluency area. Vocabulary, of course, this means using a wide range of vocabulary, but it doesn't necessarily mean that in the speaking exam you have to use really advanced vocabulary. I think that the key aspect here is using synonyms, avoiding repetition of one word, for example, and also if you don't remember a word, paraphrasing, because this also adds to fluency and it adds to the performance in terms of vocabulary. Grammar, I think that, it's quite obvious.
Yeah, it's self-explanatory, yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Although I just wanted to say that making mistakes, it's not really a big problem, because even at the higher score, 8, for example, people also, speak making mistakes. So that's shouldn't worry.
But if I realize that I have made a mistake, is it better to go back and correct myself, or is it better to just keep moving? What do you think?
That's a good question. I think that whatever is good for you. Yeah. If you think that you'll keep thinking about this mistake, maybe it's better. Okay, sorry, excuse me, I'd like to say this again. But if you are the person that is goal-oriented, you just go
with the flow. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And the last part of the Ielts test is writing. So I know that a lot of candidates struggle with the writing part. So could you tell us a bit about how this part looks like, and and how to approach it best?
Majority of candidates go for the academic module because they either plan to go and study abroad, or they are trying to applying for some work abroad. So in this case, we've got those two parts. Part 1, a shorter one, this is this analyzing a graph, analyzing the data, and writing a report. And there is the word limit of 150 words. And also the time, which, the instruction says you should spend about 20 minutes. So it is not a lot of time, but if you do some practice, you will see that, the most important thing that we may do is, very good, thorough analysis of the graphs, and then just, trying to remember some set phrases to compare the information, and also remembering the word count. If you're not sure how many words you've used, just remember that on average, each sentence is about 10 words. So then it's really quickly, easy to count how many words, you've used so far. And the second part, this one is an essay, and it's longer. What I think is really important is reading the instruction carefully, underlining the keywords, and making even a mental plan of how many paragraphs, what you want to say in each paragraph, constructing paragraphs well. Remembering that the sentence, the first sentence in the paragraph, is usually the most important sentence, which then should be supported with some arguments.
Great, thank you. Here we can also see some important benefits of the Ielts on the computer version, because here you have the word count. So actually the system does it for you, and you do not have to worry how many words you have already written. So do you think, what do you think the candidates struggle with the most? Would you say that getting familiar with the format of the test will help them before taking the Ielts test?
For sure, finding out as much as possible, not only about, how many parts, but also what each part asks the candidates to do. The experts that are on the tutorials, these are very experienced teachers of Ielts courses. Some of them are, used to be examiners. So they have a lot of practical advice on each part of the test.
Okay.
What I think candidates struggle with is, I think, also organizing their preparation time before the exam. So once we know the date of the exam, now I think it's really important to plan your study. And this actually the portal has got some very good tools. So something which is called a study planner. It's we are
going to go through that. Okay. Yes. Okay, great. So now we're going to talk a bit about how to use the platform actually to make the most of it. So as we can see at the beginning, we have the starting out part for each section. So for reading, listening, speaking, and writing, we have the starting out part. So what can we find here?
A very general overview. So when it comes to reading, The video would show you overview of the task, but also there will be some advice, how to approach it.
And also we can see below that we can also download an ebook for each section. So in the ebook, what can we find in the ebook in general?
So each section will be described, but also what you see at the bottom and the bullet points. These are really good points and advice from the experts. So what you can find here is when you approach the reading, make sure that you remember, read the instruction very carefully. So when it comes to multiple choice, make sure that you know whether you are expected to find just one correct answer, or maybe two, or maybe choose 3 out of 4. So that's one thing that sometimes helps us gain more points.
Okay, great. That's great to hear. And it's important to say that there is a separate ebook for each section. So there's not one, but there are 4 of them. So the next part that shows up is advice and tutorials. So what is the advice and from whom are the tutorials? So if you could tell us about it.
The tutorials and advice comes from experienced teachers who teach exam classes, and they will give you practical tips. For example, if you have some multiple choice for listening, for example, then some of them you can, so first of all, looking at the questions, start mentally thinking about what could be a synonym for each of those words you can see on the screen or on the paper, because you might not really hear the words that you see in, for example, instruction or in multiple choice questions. So that's something that they will tell you. Think very quickly about synonyms, and some of those points you can eliminate using your common sense. So this is something I've heard from the tutorial when I was listening to it.
And we are working on examples all the time, so we can actually have some basis for what we're hearing. Yes.
And also what is really good is that you can you very quickly see when you see the tutorial. You will see on the screen the ways of getting to the answer and making the most out of of the answer keys.
Yes, that's great to hear. I think that's very beneficial for the test takers. And so the next part is practice zone. Are the exercises in the practice zone the same as in the test, or are they similar?
They are practically the same, but they are interactive. So it means that, for example, when it comes to the speaking test, you can see the recording of a candidate giving an answer, and then also we can see a better alternative, and the ways, also some advice what to do to for example expand your answer, and how to record yourself, listen to your pronunciation, listen to how you're doing.
Okay. That's great. I think that's also a really helpful thing before taking the test, to practice as much as we can, so we don't have to worry about the format of the test, just about the content and the answer. So the next thing is test practice, which I think we have already talked about. So there are a lot of sets available. Some sets are available for free. Some sets are available if you take the test with the British Council, and they are available in both Ielts on computer and Ielts on paper versions. And also there's one more important tab, which is progress report. So it is available only for those who have already booked their Ielts test with the British Council. So Joanna, do you think this is an important asset on the platform, to have the report on your progress as you're going through exercises?
Yes, because it's important to see how well you're doing, what you've improved, and what is more important, what things need more work. So if you see that there are some areas of the exam that you scored fewer points or less than you expected, you can go back to the practice zone and practice only with those tasks that you think you need more work. And I'm sure that after this you'll see the result of further work in your scores and in your reports.
And if you're doing different sets, you can also see how many % you have got on each of them. And there is one more tab, which is resource bank. As we can see, it is parts of it are available in the free version, parts of it are available if you book the IELTS test with the British Council. So could you tell us a bit about what is available here?
In the free version, yes, you can try you can definitely try, first of all, listen to the experts about the exam. You can try some tasks and you can translate them into the score. If you, for example, would like to have a 6, you can complete a practice test, then enter your score, and you can see that in some parts you have 6, but in some parts you have 5. Then you will see that these areas would need more work. And the ones that are the ones that are in the version for the candidates registering with British Council, you've got more tests and more practice. So that's definitely something that will give you more advantage.
Yes, and here in the resource bank, we can also see that the score calculator is available for everybody. So this is something we talked about before, that we can, from the answer key, we can check how many points we got, and then we can translate them into bands. And for the candidates registering with British Council, you can also access study guides, and you can also set your exam date there, and you can have the countdown to the doomsday. So to say. Okay, so we talked a bit about bands, but I think maybe it's a place to expand on that a bit. So I have heard that Road to IELTS can help the candidates to improve their IELTS band score by 1, going up. So do you think it's possible? And how much time do you think we need to set aside to work with the platform to achieve that? And if you could start with just basically saying us a bit about IELTS band scores and which scores are there and how to achieve them.
Yes, so as you can see, the bands show us the scores from basic user through independent user to proficient user. And when we apply to go to study, then definitely we are looking at the bands depending on what kind of studies we do, probably from 6.5 upwards. And we could say that this, the score of 7, this is equivalent to somebody taking an advanced exam and getting a good score. So if you are thinking of studying, then you could see on the screen what kind of jobs or what kind of academic programs or training programs, what kind of expectations and requirements have for the people that apply there. And so as you can see, studying subjects like psychology or law, this would require bands, I think 7.5 and above. And your question was, how much improvement we can do. I would say it depends on how much time we can devote to this, because I think it's our, if we have this kind of challenge, that we need the score of 7.5, and we look at our initial score and it is 6.5, which would be one band higher to go, then we need to set aside quite a big chunk of time and do it systematically and using the study planner. So this means, doing a mock exam, looking at where our weaknesses are, and then going to the practice zone, practicing that particular skill, that particular task, and doing this, having a lot of time for this.
So it is possible that actually there is one skill which is not our strong side, which is like kind of weighing down our band score. And there is one skill that we need to focus on to practice to make sure that we get the band score that we want to.
Yes, of course, we need to take into consideration, yes, how much time we have. Yeah? And to be realistic, looking at our life in general and finding, putting into calendar, this day at this time is devoted to my study. And the way the whole course, the preparation course is organized, it's really well organized, and it will direct us through the tasks we need to practice on. And if we use the expert's advice, and if you look at the answer key and tape scripts or audio scripts, and if we practice, writing using the advice, I'm sure that you will see the benefits, and you will see, the better scores and better results.
Okay, so if we are sure that we need to take the IELTS test to go to our dream study abroad program, then it is better to book the test earlier to make sure that we have enough time to work with the platform, because that can be really helpful for us. And it's a free asset that we can use. So I talked a lot about registering and getting access to the so-called last-minute version, because that's what the version is called if you register with the British Council. So it's enough to just go to IELTS registration.britishcouncil.org test chooser, or you can go there through our website, britishcouncil.pl. You can choose the location, one of 9 locations in Poland. And there are a couple of centers which are delivering IELTS on the computer and on paper, and some tests are only delivering IELTS on paper. You can choose the dates which suit you. As you can see, even in May, we have a lot of test dates. Even there are 4 to 5 dates a week, so there is a lot of choice. So yes, I want to assure you that we have ongoing tests, and we are still delivering tests and inviting our test takers. Of course, there are additional sanitary measures on the test day, such as social distancing, keeping masks on during the entire time, disinfecting hands and all the surfaces, and avoiding crowding. So our groups of candidates are actually smaller right now, but we are still delivering tests.
And I have a question, because there are many teachers who teach IELTS courses. So my question is there a version for this Road of IELTS program for teachers?
Yes, there is. There is an institutional version of Road to IELTS, which is available for institutions and for teachers in schools or in language schools, which want to use that resource in preparing their students for IELTS. So this gives you access for all of your students, and you are able to monitor their progress and development all the time. And you also get instant feedback on your students' performance, and you are able to give your students feedback through the program. So all the materials there are based on real IELTS tasks and materials to ensure that you are working on the resources which will be very helpful for the test takers. And all of your students have access to hints and tips and advice and tutorials. So this is certainly a resource that can be used by teachers and institutions. And the cost of license for that depends on the number of students. So if you're interested in that, you can contact us. The contact details will be on the last slide. And we will be happy to tell you more about it and how we can cooperate. And I know you didn't ask about it, but I will talk about it, that there are also paid versions which can be accessed from the website. So there is a speed version, success version, and premium version. And what they have is basically more exercises, more practice tests, and more interactive exercises. And for the speed and success versions, you have 31-day access. to all the things that are on the platform. And for premium version, you have access for 90 days. And also Success and premium version are for those who, because speed version is for those who only want to improve their knowledge of IELTS test format and IELTS test exercises. And the Success and premium versions also help you to improve your English skills in general, such as grammar, writing, and study skills. Also focused on IELTS, but not only. So yes, I think we've covered all the parts of the platform and how to navigate on it. I will also add one bit for those of you who want to find out more about the IELTS test and the preparation process. We are still running free webinars for test takers. This is the schedule for April. There will be further information on the schedule for May. For now, we had one today, and there's one more next week on writing. So you have the link below. You can also use that. So now, maybe is there something that we haven't mentioned about the Road to IELTS platform, or about IELTS in general, or preparation for IELTS? Maybe you have any questions. We will be very glad to answer some questions. They can be in Polish or in English, and they can be about IELTS in general. They don't have to be about the Road to IELTS platform. So if you have any doubts or any question, now is your time. Okay. So we are going to wait for a bit. Maybe somebody will decide. But if there are no questions for now, and you have questions, there are some questions that arise after you look for the platform and see the exercises. You can always contact us, and this is our contact. You can contact us by email at exams@britishcouncil.pl or on our Facebook by direct messaging us. And we will be very happy to talk to you more about Road to IELTS and about our other resources. We also have a previous live event. We have one question. Is it available in Poland? Yes, of course. It is available for every location where we are running IELTS with British Council. You can access it from any location. Yes, so we also, as I started saying, we have another webinar on IELTS preparation where we mention Road to IELTS, but we also talk more about different assets and different materials which you can access for free with British Council to make sure that you're ready for your test. So make sure to go for our Facebook page and our previous events to see all of that. Okay, and I know that in the comment we have a link with all the dates, tests, locations, so you can also check it out and see if there is one date that will suit you. Okay, so that's great. I think we are going to close slowly now. There is also there is a link to the Road to IELTS platform in the comments, so you can check it out and see if it's something for you. And yeah, so don't hesitate to ask us anything, not only now, but in general. And do we plan a webinar about C1 Advanced exam? Yes, we are running different live events. And also, if you're interested, there was a webinar, a live event on C1 Advanced, if I remember correctly, in February. And you can still access the recording from our Facebook page. If you go into videos, you can see that there is a saved recording from our live event on C1 Advanced. And if you have any questions about C1 Advanced, also do not hesitate to contact us. Okay, so do we have any more questions now? Okay, so we won't take more of your time today then. So I'm sure to see you some next time. And thank you, Anna, for joining me here today. Thank you for your expertise. It was great to have you here and have a discussion with you. And thank you to our marketing team colleagues for the technical support and the smooth running of this session. And thank you to our audience, and I hope that we helped you to understand why Road to IELTS would be a great asset in your IELTS journey. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Anna. So have a good evening and goodbye.
Bye-bye.